Fly Girl VSG, Lindsay coming into you with my week 27 post-op vertical sleeve gastrectomy update. I had surgery December 5th, 2013 with Dr. J. Jan at Good Samaritan Legacy Hospital. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. I'll just jump right into the numbers. I started the 2-week pre-op diet, I think it was November 21st at 301.2. I weighed in day of surgery at 291.8. I weighed in last week at 215.6. I weighed in today at 213.0. For a loss this week of 2.6 pounds and a total loss since the 2-week pre-op diet of 88.2 pounds. I'm really pleased with that. I had lost 3 pounds last week, so I wasn't expecting a big loss again this week, especially since my hormones are playing mean tricks on me. Like, I have been, oh my god, on Shark Week for like 3 weeks. It sucks hard. So anyway, but things are good. I thought I would maybe do the video of why I kind of like the journey of my fat, you know, like I kind of talked about that last week. Sorry, you can tell when my neck is hurting because I do this weird thing with my head because I'm like trying to stretch it. I swear I don't have a neck tick. I'm trying to like get some traction in there. Anyway, sorry about that. It's really hard for me. Like, I'm in a really good mood today. I don't know if I want to talk about it, but it's got to be done at some point. I don't know how long this is going to go. I do want to cover 2 NSBs though. First of all, I just recalculated my BMI. So my original BMI was 50.1. I don't even know whether it is in the charts, if it's off the charts or whatever, but I'm still in the obesity range, but my BMI right now is 35.4. So I don't give a shit about BMI. I don't believe in it. All it takes into consideration is height and weight, basically, and it doesn't take into consideration muscle mass at all. So, but I was still like, woo, that's cool, you know, whatever. So, and then I bought like my first belts, really, like my first belts ever that didn't already like come with an outfit. And I bought them at Target yesterday, and they are size large, and let me show them to you. So these are 2 separate belts, but one is like, it's like a gray-brown kind of color. I don't think it comes through. And then yellow, which is like, I could wear this today, but I'm not because it's not full on the yellow. But yeah, and they were size large at Target for like 13 bucks a piece, and I was like stoked. So I'm excited about that. I could have fit into the extra large, but then like I was already on like the second to last hole. And this one I'm on like the first or second hole, so I figured then I could shrink into it. Woo! So I thought that was fun. So the story of me. I didn't really have anything else to talk about today, so I might as well talk about it. I'm trying to avoid it, can you tell? I just don't want there to be any misunderstanding too. Like a lot of this is super personal, so I'm just gonna dive in. So my mom, I love her. She's like my best friend. We're super tight, but she grew up overweight as well, or heavy, or chunky, and she had a complex from it because her dad never made her feel like, you know, like she grew up in the 50s and 60s, and like you were supposed to be a certain size, right? I mean, maybe that was why, I'm just presuming. But she wanted so much for me to not end up like her that she kind of made me like her. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when I was 11, my mom put me on a 600 calorie a day diet, which is really excessive. Now I know that. Then she wanted me to lose weight, and I wanted to make her happy. And I just remember being so hungry. You know, I'm 11 years old. You know, that's like a prime growing, like all of time is prime growing when you're an adolescent, right? But like, I remember eating yogurt and like string cheese, like low fat string cheese and deli meat. And that's like all I can really remember eating. I mean, I obviously ate a little bit more than that, but 600 calories a day, and I had to track my food and write down all my calories. Like, she had to show me how to do all that so I would be responsible for not overeating. And so, like, I got down, I remember I lost, like, 15 pounds or something on this. And I remember my, like, 11th birthday or 12th birthday, like, I was, you know, skinny. I don't even know. I don't even remember how much I weighed at that time. Maybe 120, 130 at 11 years old. But, I mean, I wasn't really fat, kid. I was just, like, more solid, I guess. Like, I look at pictures and I think, oh, yeah, you know, she's a little, I mean, not even chubby. I guess I just look, like, taller than I was or something. I don't even know, like, more solid. But, anyway, my mom thought I was heavy and overweight and had to lose weight. So this is how things kind of got started. Is I remember being really hungry, and I have a lot of food issues as an adult, dealing with deprivation and hunger. Like, the sensation of hunger is very uncomfortable for me. Almost to the point of extreme panic. And I'm sure that probably stems, you know, from that. So, I've got notes, sorry. You know, my mom, I think, had some self-esteem issues. I think she probably still has self-esteem issues. I mean, I know so, but I don't want to. Anyway, I love you, Mom, if you're watching this. But she just didn't want me to end up like her. Like, she kind of always promoted that I would have the whole world open to me, that I would get anything I wanted when I was a comfortable weight. It was never really promoted to me. Like, I think you saw in me and Tessa's video, like, she was raised, like, super confident, like, you're beautiful, you're amazing, no matter what. And my mom didn't say that I wasn't at all. She just, I mean, she just kind of implied that I would have the job, I would have the boyfriend, I would have whatever I wanted, the friends, the social life. You know, I wasn't super popular. I know that's shocking, right? I wasn't super popular in school, or even a little bit popular. Like, I had, like, 2 friends at a time, you know, like, not very many. And when I was thin. So I grew up with this understanding that I wasn't good enough or I didn't get those things if I weren't smaller. So if I gained weight, and I did, obviously, moving into adulthood, then I wasn't worthy. I wasn't good enough, and because that's the recipe, right? You are thin, and you get these things. You are not thin, you do not get these things. So, when just before I turned 16, I met my high school boyfriend. We'll call him M. And we dated for like 3 years, and it was really a mess. Like, it was such a mess. As oftentimes high school relationships, or any relationship, we all have one, right? Most of us have one of those. It was a mess. Anyway, it was a mess. I don't want to go into the relationship, but I will say this. Just before I graduated high school, so I took my senior pictures at 175 pounds. I thought I was probably a 14, which probably now would be closer to a 12. Because I think sizes, like, when I look at my 14 pants, like, I had a 14 dress from back then, like, it's so small. It's definitely more like a 12 or maybe even a 11. You know, like, not quite a 10. But, I took my senior pictures at 175. I fiddled with some birth control stuff when I was graduating high school. So just before, like, as I graduated high school, I was 185. I remember that because I wasn't feeling comfortable at all. And then I moved off to college for a year. I lived in Ashland for a year, and went to Southern Oregon State College. It was the last year it was Southern Oregon State College before it became Southern Oregon University. And my boyfriend went down there with me. He did not go to school that year, but he moved down 2 weeks before I did. And all of a sudden, like, I couldn't reach him on the phone in the 2 weeks, you know, like the week prior to me leaving or a few days before, I couldn't get a hold of him. So by the time I got down there, I found him or got a hold of him on the phone, and come to find out, he's moved some homeless girl into his apartment and is, like, with her. And this is how I find out. Like, we're together, we're boyfriend, girlfriend, and now he's with somebody else and doesn't even bother to tell me. Like, anyway, this is what a mess our relationship was. Right? So, I spent my entire freshman year chasing and being crazy and stalking and, like, losing my shit over this guy. Losing my shit. I put on, in my freshman year, probably, I was probably 220 by the time my freshman year was over. So 35 pounds, 35 pounds. Yeah. By the end of that, so I just ate. I just remember like eating pizza and ice cream and, you know, I lived super close to the little cafeteria, you know, the school. I lived in the dorms and everything, and it was a mess. It was just a mess. And we were together and off together and together and off together, but like, it was just, I was crazy. I went crazy that year. And I was on a lot of other things that you do in college, substances and alcohol and partying and things like that. So all of that didn't help. So I come home, Em and I are back together again. Shortly after coming home, like sometime that summer, I go over to his house and we are playing cards with me and him and this girl and this other girl. So these two girls. One of them is my friend and one of them is like this girl living with him. I don't know what I'm thinking. And he tells me he's engaged to this girl. And this is how we break up, is he tells me that he's engaged. And I was like, okay. Like, I was done. It was fine. However, I was also, like, it was the best thing, like, him getting married. By the way, he's been married 3 times. So, no big loss on my part. But it was the best thing, him getting married was the best thing that ever happened to me, because I was obviously tied to this person and kept going back and forth and back and forth. And frankly, to this day, a little bit still am. To this day. But no back and forth, you know, I mean, I just feel a connection with this person even now. I don't even know why or what. But anyway, that's not the point of the story. The point of the story is that I went out that night and had this awful experience with a stranger. I'll leave that up to your imagination. And woke up different, you know, and from then on, I didn't date, and I will tell you this, I didn't date or anything that comes along with dating, so I'll leave that up to your imagination as well, for 7 years. So from the ages of 19 to 26, I didn't date, I didn't go out with men, nothing. And in that 7 years, I put on, I don't even know. I don't even know. I mean, in the whole 7 years, I put on another 80 pounds. So I was 100 pounds. But at my heaviest, I was probably 26 and 320 pounds, 319 pounds, something like that. So in the meantime, I finished college early. I went to graduate school in Southern California. While there, I dropped 50 pounds on Weight Watchers, which was incredible. I think I went down there at like 265, and I got down to like 235. I don't even remember, like, honestly, but that's my guess. And then I came home and couldn't find a job, and so sat around all day looking for jobs and eating food. Like, I was terrified. Living at home again, and that was its own separate stress. I mean, I can still move home, like, at 36 years old, almost 36 years old. Like, I love knowing that I have a place to go if I had to. Like, if things got tough with me, like, I could go home. But at the time, my dad, you know, had addiction problems, and that was really bad, and it was really stressful. So between not working and being out of graduate school and kind of losing my sense of purpose and, you know, living in this really tumultuous environment, my brother was, you know, 10 years younger, and trying to take care of him and keep him safe, and not safe per se, but like protected, you know, it was a lot, and I just ate and ate and ate and ate. And so, like, I lost 50 pounds my first year in graduate school. My second year when I was working on my thesis, I started putting that weight back on, and then when I came home, it was like, within that next year, I gained like another 60 pounds, so I was up to 320. So finally, when I moved out on my own, I was, you know, so I had a job working in a recruiting firm, an IT recruiting firm, and I would, downtown Portland, so I would go to Starbucks on the way to work, and I would have like a mocha, and I'd have like a coffee cake, you know, one of those like Portland coffee cakes. They were so good. I still to this day, I love them. I don't eat them actually now, but I mean, I would have a bite if I saw one. And then for lunch, I would go to the mall, because I worked right a block away from Pioneer Square Mall. I would go to the mall, and I would get like one of those Chinese places with all the noodles. So I'd get the noodles, and then like sweet and sour chicken, or like like a fried chicken thing, and then the noodles, and maybe something else depending on how hungry. And I would eat the whole thing. Like, I mean, that's like a plate of food like this, like heaped food, and I would eat that whole thing. Or I'd get like a sandwich and a side salad, like a pasta salad and a cookie. Sometimes 3 cookies. And then I would go home and I'd go to McDonald's almost every night. I would go to McDonald's and I would eat 2 McChicken sandwiches with like chicken nugget like sauce, like sweet and sour sauce. And then, oh, my leg's falling asleep. Sorry. Let me readjust here. Take my shoes off. Okay. And a large fry, or a supersized large fry. And then I would eat like a third of a container of ice cream. And that would be every day. And that didn't include if I had a candy bar or something in between snacks. So I was enormous and unhealthy. And frankly, feeling like shit. So at 26, I was 320 pounds. I finally started dating. I mean, that was weird, right? Because I hadn't dated since I was 19. I never dated before that. Like, I had 3 boyfriends in high school. And that, like, yeah. You know, like, I didn't really know how to, like, go on a date, you know, or the process of dating. It was weird. So that was stressful and uncomfortable. But this is all related, I promise. I mean, you know, I'm not saying men caused my weight, but it was stressful, and I was devastated when Em and I broke up, and even though I was happy too, like, kind of, but I just kind of withered away inside a little bit from that, and then just stress from school and stuff like that. So, I mean, I'm grateful for all of those experiences, because I wouldn't be who I am without them, but, well, no, but, that's just it, but, I said but it anyway, again, anyway. So, anyway, I saw that movie Super Size Me, and I stopped eating McDonald's and dropped 20 pounds. I didn't even do anything else but stop eating McDonald's. I kept eating ice cream, I kept drinking soda, I kept having Starbucks, but I stopped eating McDonald's. And then I started dating this guy, and started being more, having more intimacy in my life, or some, after all that time. And I was active with that, you know, and I started noticing that I dropped another like 10, 15 pounds, and I was just like, what? I didn't even do anything else. Like, that's all I was doing, and it was not eating McDonald's and having sex, basically. And so when we broke up, and we broke up several times, another awesome relationship for me, go Lindsay, I joined the gym. So, you know, even though we got back together and stuff, like, I joined the gym, and I've never quit the gym since, pretty much. I mean, I've definitely gone like 6 months or 8 months without going, and then like a year going, you know, but I joined the gym, and I've always been a member of a gym since then. So then I pretty much stayed at like 275 for like years and years, several years, 275. But I was happy with that. Like, I was always trying to lose weight and doing fad diets and things like that, but I wasn't gaining weight, you know what I mean? Like, I was able to live my life and date, and I was fine, you know, I was pretty fine. And I started to come around to the idea that, like, I started really learning a lot. I had another relationship that completely devastated me. I mean, I dated this person for, like, 5 weeks. Seriously, that's it. And I thought he was the love of my life, which is not true, obviously, now. But the breakup was so traumatic for me. And I started going to Codependence Anonymous and Adult Children's of Alcoholics and all these other, like, 12-step meetings. And they completely changed my life, like how I relate to men and how I relate to everyone, how I relate to me, most importantly, how I relate to me. So then I started, right around the time that I met my boyfriend now, shortly after I met him, I started going to this boot camp. And I lost about 10 pounds in the boot camp, so I was 265. And this is where the things start really heating up, weight-wise. So now I'm in a, you know, relationship, and I'm going to boot camp, and I've lost 10 pounds, and I'm like, let's do more. Like, I can totally do more. And so I go and I start working with the naturopath, or wait. I work with a naturopath and boot camp to get down to 265. From like 280 at this point, 285. Because when I first met my boyfriend, obviously I was in like that relationship game, like we were drinking a lot and all that stuff. Eating out, things like that. So I lost 10 pounds at boot camp, lost 10 more pounds with my naturopath and boot camp. And then I took a break from boot camp and did the HCG. And I did the injections, like the legitimate HCG. And I did that for 6 weeks on the HCG and 3 weeks no carb or low carb after that, and I was down to 232. And then I went on vacation. Kay and I went on vacation, and I ate cheese, pounds of cheese, and so much booze on vacation, and I just didn't recover. When I came home, I just kept eating and eating and eating and eating. So I started the process at like 285, started the HCG at 265, got down to 232, and then by the end of the next year, I was up to 285, 290. And then when I started thinking about, and then I was doing paleo, so I was up and down the same 15 pounds. 275, 285, 290. 290 was the most most highest I got there. And then when I decided to do surgery, I took a big, long 3-week trip and was obviously eating out a lot and ate whatever I wanted, knowing that this surgery was coming. And so that's why the 2-week pre-op diet, I was at 301.2. I hadn't crossed back over to 300 in so long. I'm already at 20 minutes. I'm going to try to keep this short, but, okay. I'm just making sure I covered all the things I wanted to cover, which I think I did. I'm sure this is discombobulated to you, but this is really the story of me. Like, I don't even remember my weight in graduate school or college. Like, not really. I just knew I was fat and I hated myself and I was uncomfortable. And I still had that old mentality of if I didn't lose the weight, then I wouldn't get what I wanted, you know. And I worked really hard in school to, you know, be successful and feel successful. And still then I struggled with relationships and things, and part of me because I didn't think I deserved better. And when my boyfriend and I first met, we had a really rough first year and a half, and then we've just grown so much together that it's like, I'm so grateful that I kind of like had all these other experiences for me to really appreciate all the good in him, you know? Not that that's weight related, but it is related in the sense that, like, he's been so supportive of whether I put on weight or lose weight. Like, he's always been loving and caring towards me, even though he's never dated a heavier girl before. All of his girlfriends, you know, he's athletic. He's a sports guy. He played sports growing up. He's like this big, you know. I mean, not really. He's built. He's nice, but you know, he'd never been with a girl like me before, and he fell in love with me because of who I am, and that's like all I ever wanted, you know, was someone to see past that, but also for me to recognize their good stuff too, instead of like just picking the guys who like didn't really appreciate me because I thought that was all it was worth. So here I am at 213 pounds, well past my lowest adult weight. I have not weighed this much since I was a freshman in college. So I was 18. On my way up, you know, I passed 213 on my way up to 220, which is about where I left, 220, 225, something like that. And I never forget, you know, like, how all of this felt along the way. But I feel so good, you know, and I worked on me a long time before I did this surgery. I worked on me and adjusting my expectations of myself, like expecting a lot, you know, in terms of being like, I deserve to have whatever I want. I can do whatever I want. I'm capable of everything. To try to not live my life as though my weight held me back. Because I got tired of that. You know, I realized that, you know, especially when I started boot camp, I was rocking it. Like, I could do just as much. I couldn't really run or jump, but I could do everything else just as good, if not better, than more than half of those people. And not to compare, because everyone is on their own level and rocked it, but as someone who was in their upper 200s, like, I was really fucking proud of that. And it helped me be like, I can do anything. I don't have to be, you know, because when I was in my early 20s, late 20s even, it was a situation of, well, I'll go hiking when I'm smaller. I'll go kayaking when I'm smaller. I'll go by a bicycle when I'm smaller. Like, what? That doesn't even, I mean, like, listening to myself say that, knowing that I had those belief systems, like, doesn't even make sense. You know, fat is a condition. It's not who you are. It's just something you have, you know? And it shouldn't prevent you from doing anything. We are amazing people, you know? And we deserve to have everything to live the life we want to live, no matter what. So I did all that work before I had this surgery, and I think it's benefited me because I didn't have the expectation of when I'm small, or well, I don't expect to ever be small, but when I'm thinner or, you know, at goal weight or under 200, like, then I'll be happy. Then everything will come together for me. No. Honestly, I will be able to be more active and more confident, I think. Definitely. Those things are definitely true. But I am the same person. I am capable of doing more because my body will allow me to do more. But I deserve to have what I want no matter what. So I think that's really my message, even though I've said that like 60 times, and I'm at 26 minutes. I've been putting out really long videos, so I'm going to stop now. But this was a long topic, and I didn't really know how to put it all together. So I apologize it took so long. But this is my story. You know a lot of stuff about me now. But I am a happy girl, woman. I am happy and blessed, and I love my life, with or without this weight loss surgery, although I have a completely different appreciation for what my body is capable of doing now, you know? And I have cuter clothes. I'm not going to lie. That's true. I think it's really interesting to see how my style is starting to come out now that I get to pick what I want instead of just what fits. It's amazing. That's a whole other video topic. Maybe I'll do that next week. Anyway, if you guys have anything you want to talk to me about, message me. If you have anything you want me to cover in any of my upcoming videos, you know, let me know. I'm certainly open to ideas. Otherwise, have a super, super amazing weekend, and thanks for your support. And I always have a hard time saying goodbye. Every time. Keep it fly out there, you guys. I'll talk to you next week. Bye.